And I'm going to just invite Brock to start us off with our prelude.
Do 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 do. We are building a new way. We are building a new way. We are building a new way, feeling stronger every day. We are building a new way. Do-do-do-do. Do-do-do. Do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do. Do-do-do. Do 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 do. We are working to be free. We are working to be free. Do 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 do. We are working to be free of hate and greed and jealousy. We are working to be free. Do 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 do.
Well, thank you so much, Charlie, this morning for offering our beautiful a cappella prelude this morning for worship. Well, welcome everyone to the First Universalist Church of Rochester, where we are called to nurture the spirit and to serve the community. And happy Pride this morning! Whoever you are, we welcome you. Wherever you come from, we welcome you. Whomever you love, we welcome you. And however you are celebrating Pride in this unusual year, we welcome you. We welcome all of you. It is good, it is good, it is good to be together this morning. If you are here for the first time this morning, we especially welcome you. Thank you so much for making your way here. At the top of our online service, we want to just invite you to take a deep breath in and out, settle into this worshipful time with us here together. And as we gather, I want to invite you to pop into the chat and offer a greeting. It could be below or above you, the little icon with the text bubble. So please go ahead and pop into the chat, offer a greeting, a wave of hello, a good morning, just so we can know that you are here this morning. Welcome. Welcome to worship at First Universalist Church. As we do many Sunday mornings, we will begin this morning's service with some singing. So let us join hearts and voices in singing hymn number 1051, We Are, recognizing that even as we are singing muted in our own home, we are creating a song across the city of Rochester, our country, and the world. This morning's hymn acknowledges the legacies that precede us and the dreams that have led to our becoming. So let us sing together hymn number 1051, We Are.
For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are.
Good morning, everyone, and happy Pride to you all. The call to worship today is a poem by an unknown author, and it's called My Gay Pride. I am a boy who loves another boy. He is my life. He is my joy. I will never be ashamed to be gay. In fact, I will say it every day. I love him and he loves me. That's all that matters, can't you see? We are challenged by everyday prejudice and bruised by society's cruel fist. So when I become an adult, I will be a man who loves another man. And what you think, I won't give a damn. I will never be ashamed of the love I feel. I wear the rainbow with pride, and together we walk side by side. And when we grow old, let the story be told that I died with his hand in mine. Come, let us worship together. Please join me now in our chalice lighting, the symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith. May we be a people of welcome, here to grow in heart and mind and spirit, and may we reach out to serve our community.
From the ages of 8 to 14, I lived in Lexington, Kentucky. I attended Southern Junior High School. Our sports team were the Southern Rebels. We flew the Confederate flag. I didn't fit in very well. As in many junior highs, students at Southern had a clear and unquestioned pecking order. Among the boys, I was second from the bottom. I wasn't good at sports, and I didn't know how to fight. I was a teacher's pet. My teeth were crooked. My mom trimmed my hair in a bowl cut, and I fastened the top button on my shirts. My peers were merciless. The worst thing they could think to call me was sweetie and faggot. So they did, all the time. And I was very confused. How do you say, but I'm not, and so what if I were, at the same time? Fortunately, I grew up in a UU family, and while my parents didn't seem to understand how miserable I was at school, at least they reinforced the message that it's fine to be who you are. I also watched a lot of Mr. Rogers, and that helped. So when I went to UUA General Assembly for the first time in high school, and another guy in the youth caucus came on to me, I could still be very confused and still not interested and maybe not very gracious, but also maybe a little bit flattered too. And when I moved to Rochester after grad school, it was such a blessing to live in a neighborhood and belong to a church with brave and beautiful out role models. Our daughters grew up knowing that Marge and Cindy across the street were a loving couple, as were many same-sex pairs in our extended family, the members of this congregation. We don't always get this right, of course. We all say stupid things sometimes, or we don't know what to say, or we discover that we still have more junior high conditioning than we thought. We lost some longtime members when we became a welcoming congregation 25 years ago. But we recognize that we don't have to be perfect. We only have to work at getting better. And I'm proud of the fact that when our older daughter came out as queer, it was a matter of fact acknowledgement. Our pride in her was never in doubt.
Please join me in our affirmation of faith, followed by our doxology. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve humanity in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the source and meaning of life. Thus do we covenant with each other and with all. This Sunday's offering will be shared with Person-Centered Housing Options, an innovative, not-for-profit whose mission is to address, prevent, and alleviate chronic homelessness within Monroe County and in surrounding counties using the Housing First model. In this time of financial stress, with a rise in a lack of resources for family and people needing to seek housing options in new ways, your contributions this morning go towards keeping our neighbors in Rochester housed. As we face this pandemic and its devastating effects this morning, we have a chance to give this important organization whose work is more essential today than ever before. Please click the link in the chat to give online to First Universalist Church, or feel free to send a check to the church. Thank you in advance for your generosity.
morning, everyone. I want to begin my reflections today with a poem called Wild Geese by Mary Oliver. You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles in the desert, repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Tell me about despair, yours, and I will tell you mine. Meanwhile, the world goes on. Meanwhile, the sun and the clear pebbles of the rain are moving across the landscapes, over the prairies and the deep trees, the mountains and the rivers. Meanwhile, the wild geese, high in the clean blue air, are heading home again. Whoever you are, no matter how lonely, the world offers itself to your imagination, calls to you like the wild geese, harsh and exciting, over and over announcing your place in the family of things. Imagine 20 years ago at the age of 49, I finally realized that I was not living as my true self. Imagine what that meant I had to give up. My 25-year marriage to a good man. Living with my son full-time, he was 9. My home, my gardens, my financial security, a lot of my friends. To speak my truth, to live my true life at first filled me with angst, guilt, and shame. I cried an ocean of tears. I was drowning. Anger and disbelief roiled around me like a crazy rushing river. I sank. I was broken, and I became awash in pain and addiction. I was sick in mind, body, and spirit. And then I found our church, an island in the sea of love. I found the place that has love as its doctrine and service as its prayer. I found the place that respects the inherent worth and dignity of all. I dove in, and the waters stilled. Acceptance and fellowship flowed over me and healed me. To march in the Pride Parade with our church every year is pure joy, because love is the answer and love wins. Walking on the street, proudly carrying our sign, standing on the side of love, thrills me. Splashes of red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet, roars and shouts of happy pride and love, love, love fill the air like a waterfall of noise and color and laughter. Rainbows are everywhere with the message that we must be proud of who we are and who we love. So far we have come. So far I have come. To the sunshine of the Spirit, basking in the glow on the shores of the lake of true self-love and acceptance. I love you all. Happy, happy Pride.
Thank you so much, Kitty, for sharing your story with us this morning. We are holding you in love wherever we are right now. Thank you. I want us to just take a deep breath now. And I want to invite us into this reverent time of sharing the joys and the sorrows of this gathered community. If you would like to, you can place a hand over your heart to be able to listen and to share from this heart-centered place. As I place stones and shells and sea glass into a glass, I will read aloud the joys and sorrows of our gathered community, and all are invited to share your joys and sorrows in the chat, that we may hear from the community gathered here. So let us join in this important ritual of sharing the joys and the sorrows of our gathered community. This morning we share a joy from Linda Chamberlain. Her husband, Don Friedenberg, is turning 90 On July 30th, 90. Cards are welcome, and Don Friedenberg's address is in the church directory. We share a joy from Ava Silaverte, whose son Nicholas has returned to Rochester in good health and plans on staying here. Thanks to all for the prayers on his behalf. We share a collective sorrow with 2 stones. We join with people across our nation and our world, mourning the death of 2 central civil rights organizers and leaders, Representative John Lewis and Reverend C.T. Vivian. May they rest in power, and may we continue to be inspired by their lives and their legacies. And I shall drop one final stone into the bowl to represent all of the joys and the sorrows left unspoken in the silent sanctuaries of our hearts. May all be held in the heart of love. And I'll invite you now to enter into a time of prayer and meditation with me. If you would like to just get comfortable wherever you are seated, take your hands away from the keyboard. Take a deep centering breath with me. Let your shoulders relax from your ears. Just let the breath fill you. We must be proud of who we are and who we love. Because to love is an act of resistance. To love is to boldly proclaim the worth and dignity of another, no matter the relationship, no matter how you came to love this person, no matter who you are to them, who they are to you. We must be proud of who we are and who we love. Who we are matters. Our core self, the parts of us that have always been there, the values and principles at the center. And in the midst of this meditation, just take a pause to name those parts of you to yourself. What makes you you? What are those values and those principles that have always been at the center of who you are? We must be proud of who we are and who we love. A love so deep it cannot be broken by labels. Love so wide it means that none of us is outside the circle of its care. Love worth celebrating. Love in all its complexities. Love when it is shiny and new, and love when it has grown a bit dusty but is still a solid choice. We must be proud of who we are and who we love, even as we fall short of love's call, even when we have not shown up for others in ways that fully convey how much we love them, even when we ourselves have been hard to love, even as some amongst us have been told we are unlovable. We must be proud of who we are and who we love. Because this is a faith that keeps love at the center, that proclaims that love wins every single time. Love wins every single time. We must be proud of who we are and who we love. We must be proud of who we are and who we love. We must be proud of who we are and who we love. Amen. Blessed be. And may it be so. And I want to invite you now to join us in a moment of silence, allowing our hearts to just stir and to just sit with whatever is there for you, whatever is coming up in this moment. Let us share in a collective moment of silence across our city, our country, and our world. As you come back from our shared silence, I invite you now to join together in singing our hymn of contemplation, hymn number 123, Spirit of Life.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots holy grows, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
My friends, this morning's reading actually comes from a children's book called Julian is a Mermaid. And I understand that you're probably seeing the text backwards, but don't worry, I'm going to read it all to you. And I wanted to share this book with you all, especially because the illustrations are so beautiful. And when we are usually in our sanctuary, I don't get to share them with you right up front with everybody. So I thought I may just share it with you today. All right. So Julian is a mermaid. This is a boy named Julian, and this is his abuela. And those are some mermaids. Julian loves mermaids. Vamos, mijo, this is our stop. Abuela, did you see the mermaids? I saw them, mijo. Abuela, I am also a mermaid. I'm going to take a bath. You be good. Julian has a good idea. And another one. Oh. Oh. Uh-oh. Come here, mijo. For me, abuela? For you, Julian. And they step out of their house. Where are we going? You'll see, says abuela. Mermaids, whispers Julian. Like you, mijo. Let's join them. And they do. The end.
I don't want to see my loved ones kicked into the dust no more. Their dreams all turn to rust no more, no more, no more. I don't want to see my siblings having to give in no more. Their loving cold or sin no more, no more, no more. And the Stonewall Nation gonna have its liberation. Wait and see. Just wait and see. You can take your intolerance and stick it. We're gonna write our own ticket. Stonewall Nation is gonna be free. Come on, my people, march along. We're all gonna sing our song right now. can take your intolerance and shove it. We're going to be ourselves and love it. Stonewall Nation is gonna be free. Yes, you can take your intolerance and shove it. We're gonna be ourselves and love it. Stonewall Nation is gonna be free.
Thank you so much, Lisa. I love that. You can take your tolerance and shove it. We will be ourselves and love it. Yes, yes. At the outset of my brief reflection this morning, I just want to acknowledge that yesterday would have been the day for us to take part in Rochester's annual Pride Parade, as we have done for the last many, many years. And I just want to thank Bridget Watts for lifting up in the chat missing Eleanor Siegfried, especially as last year this was the day that we were celebrating her life and particularly marching in her honor. So this year is different. And I know that I am missing that touch point. And I imagine that some of you are missing that touch point too. And at the end of our story this morning, when Julian joins in the parade with his abuela, something about the image just tugs at my heartstrings. And I imagine a part of it is a bit of grief, really just missing that way we get to gather as mermaids and otherwise at this time of year. But there's also just something else at work here, at least for me. When I see Julian joining in this story, a child who is no older than 10, joining with folks in the Pride Parade at the end, I cannot help but think about the heritage this young person is moving into. I cannot help but think about the generations of people whose footsteps, wheel marks, and tracks the younger generation are joining with. Folks like Michael's daughter and Kitty and the men Tom read about, and me and Julian. We are here this morning to celebrate Pride, and we celebrate because generations of folks have fought, disrupted, resisted, celebrated, laughed, loved, and mourned before us. This is a celebration for everyone. And in order to celebrate, it feels only fitting that we know where we come from. Pride did not begin as a parade, right? This month and day out of the year when we celebrate the lives and loves of LGBTQIA+ peoples began probably before, but officially began at the Stonewall Inn, following yet another police raid at a bar where outcast gays, lesbians, bisexuals, drag queens, and transgender people gathered. These police raids happened all of the time, but that evening folks had had enough. And led by Marsha Pay It No Mind Johnson and Sylvia Rivera, two transgender women of color who were part of a larger movement of transgender women, they all decided they were fed up and it was time to fight back. This year, 2020, marks 50 years since the first Christopher Street Liberation Day March, a march that followed the Stonewall Inn uprising. And that march did not just come out of nowhere. It came from these two women and countless unnamed LGBTQ+ activists who had been organizing for better treatment for years prior to the Stonewall uprising. It came from organizers in San Francisco who found ways to defend themselves against police violence, as well as violence from homophobic men roaming the city, targeting LGBTQ people. It came from queer sex workers, to whom this was their only option for working and being able to live authentically. It came out of parts of our society folks would rather not see, from community basements, dive bars, street corners, and prison cells. And it is out of their hard work and sacrifice that we celebrate today, that we join in a long lineage that is so deeply important. And this weekend, it feels especially important to celebrate legacies of resistance as we mourn the loss of C.T. Vivian and John Lewis. These deaths and this important history of pride remind me that so many have come before us to fight for some of the racial justice, sexual justice, and gender justice wins we are seeing today. We all live, in the dreams of the future that these amazing folks were fighting for. We live in the dreams that they dreamed. And it is for our future that we must celebrate, advocate, and keep showing up for one another. This past week, I was lucky enough and privileged enough to visit briefly with 2 children in our congregation. All wore masks and remained socially distant, just a brief visit to drop off some UU summer camp at home kits that Reverend Michelle, our Minister of Lifespan Faith Development, had put together for our youngest members. And as I was pulling this together yesterday and just thinking about what to share with you all from my heart and about the importance of celebrating Pride this year, however unconventional this celebration may need to be, I was thinking of these children, and I was thinking of their future. See, these LGBTQ+ elders dreamed of a world where people would be accepted for who they are, where people could get jobs that brought themselves meaning and purpose, where LGBTQ+ people could live free of police harassment, where to love who you love and live how you live would no longer be dangerous. And I wonder what our dreams are for our children today. I wonder what sort of legacy we want them to move into. I wonder what kind of a world we are building for each and every one of them, regardless of their sexual orientation or gender identity. As I was thinking about this, I thought about some of the things that I want. And maybe we have some overlap here. But I want to see a world where a child is not forced to choose between asserting their heterosexual identity and putting LGBTQ people down. I want to see a world where Black transgender women are alive and thriving, rather than dying at unprecedented rates. 23 known women already in 2020, and it's only July. I want to see a world where people can live free of toxic masculinity that tells boys that they need to be more masculine and cut ties completely with their feminine side. Free of a toxic masculinity that would say women must look a certain way to feel attractive and be valued. Free of a toxic masculinity that devalues non-binary and transgender people to the point of declaring that their lives do not matter. I wonder, what kind of a world do you want for this next generation? This year, we are in need of celebration. And yet, Pride in person cannot happen safely. There is just no way. Yet, the observance of Pride cannot and will not be stopped. There have been so many online celebrations that have been recorded and that folks can access at any time. There have been car caravans and videos made and fundraisers to ensure that projects led by Black LGBTQ people do not go unfunded in this time period. There have been drag shows done over Zoom and selfies with pride flags, calls for justice, and yes, even corporations still putting out their pride statements with rainbow flags and commitments to the LGBTQ community. And I have to think that Sylvia Rivera and Marsha P. Johnson may be rolling in their graves for that one, but it's still happening, and it's still a sign of progress. We are still here. We are still here. In the midst of a pandemic, we are still here and still celebrating. We are still here. a line often repeated by transgender elder Miss Major Griffin Gracie, who was present for the Stonewall Inn uprising and is still advocating for transgender and gender expansive folks whose lives have been affected by the prison industrial complex. We are still here. In the midst of a pandemic, we are gathered on this Sunday morning to listen to the stories of this congregation, to laugh, to cry, to celebrate pride together. We are still here. We are still here. And it is because of those who came before, who rioted, who led uprisings and said that the ways that we were treated were unfair. It is because of them that we are still here. And it is for a future generation that we must celebrate, advocate, and keep moving forward. Amen. Blessed be, and may it be so. And as we join in this, as we continue this beautiful celebration of community, our final hymn is hymn number 1064, Blue Boat Home. And we invite you to just remain muted and sing out joyfully from home, again, creating a collective song from wherever we find ourselves. Let us join in this song, celebrating community and celebrating our togetherness. As we extinguish our chalice flame this morning, let us read together our words printed in our order of service and on the screen. We extinguish this flame, but we keep its light in our hearts with its message of love and justice. taking it outside these walls to the world we live in until we are together again. And my friends, though we cannot be together in person, let us please connect across our Zoom screens. If you would like to put your view into gallery mode and just to reach out to the edge of your screen. If you are joining us by phone, if you'd just like to put a hand over your heart and just think of someone that you care about, someone that you care about in this community or beyond, let us just be connected this morning. My friends, this morning, go forward knowing that your love is worth celebrating, that our love is worth celebrating, that this morning we are joining in a celebration of pride that has been going on for 50 years and beyond. May you feel the support and the love of those ancestors. May you feel the call of the future generation pulling you forward. And may you go forward this morning in love, knowing you are loved always. Amen. Blessed be, and may it be so. And as we come to a time to close our service, I'll invite you to follow our benediction with the words, I celebrate pride against the odds. Please join us in typing those words into the chat together.
If I had a hammer, I'd hammer in the morning, I'd hammer in the evening, all over this land. I'd hammer out danger, I'd hammer out a warning, I'd hammer out love between my brothers and my sisters, all over this land. If I had a bell, I'd ring it in the morning, I'd ring it in the evening, all over this land. I'd ring out danger, I'd ring out a warning, I'd ring out love between my brothers and my sisters, all over this land. If I had a song, I'd sing it in the morning, I'd sing it in the evening, all over this land. I'd sing out danger, I'd sing out warning, I'd sing out love between my brothers and my sisters, all over this land. Well, I've got a hammer, and I've got a bell, and I've got a song to sing, all over this land. It's the hammer of justice, it's the bell of freedom, it's a song about love between my brothers and my sisters, all over this land. It's the hammer of justice, it's the bell of freedom, it's a song about love between my brothers and my sisters, all over this land.
Yay, Ed, thank you so much for that. That was wonderful. What a great way to end our service this morning.